Hi.
Hi, I'm Sophie, this is Toby, and we're Cherry on top.
Uh,
So the
she
first,
sings.
yeah, I sing.
I do everything else. I do all the background work. And we're just gonna talk through the album, song by song. Not in too much detail, but just a little bit.
Yeah, so the album's Childlike, first song on it, Swear Jar.
When every swear word costs $1, is it?
Yeah, 1 of 14. So this song, I wrote the lyrics. It's an interesting one. If you've listened to it, it's definitely I feel like compared to a lot of the songs, it's quite soulless. Very auto-tuned. Very gimmicky. I mean, you've got all the penny sound effects. I got an empty jar and a handful of 1Ps and just messed around dangling them, zhuzhing them, shaking them around in front of the microphone. And they're present throughout the entire track. They never go away. I mean, tonally, this song just is wild. There's not really a... And I feel like if you handed this to a classical musician, they might throw up a little bit. But
Vomit and cry.
But I mean, we decided to put it first, I think, just because it's thematically appropriate, but tone-wise, it is a bit detached from the rest.
Also, I feel like it's kind of easy to listen to, as in some of our music is quite not pop, basically, and that this one's a little more kind of, yeah, beginner friendly.
What's the second track? The second track is Starium. This one...
Sorry.
There it is.
There it is.
This one, you wrote.
I did write this one. So this one's based off of a recurring dream I kept having when I was about 8 years old. I had it 3 or 4 times. It's like a really weird one. I basically would wake up like on this beach and there was like the flippers, like scuba flippers, and it would be like pink ones and blue ones. Sexism in my dreams.
Gender roles.
Gender roles. And then this whale with legs, hence the lyrics, that whale has legs.
Yeah, that...
would then take me down on an adventure, like swimming through the water. It's like, oh my god, there's Atlantis, and we've got a map, and there's treasure, and I'd always wake up before we got the treasure. So, yep, it's a weird one.
Yeah, obviously it's about kind of ocean vibes, but at the same time it feels a bit galactic and a bit spatial. So I kind of tried to straddle the line with that. It's like the main through line is a piano throughout the whole song, but all the percussion is electronic. Like it's all very reverbed. It's very kind of, if you imagine like an alien sound effect from like an old film, like it feels a bit like that.
And also, like, the fact that, okay, so I used to have this weird, like, it's like audio effect in my dreams, where, like, if I spoke, it sounded like so I'd be speaking normally, and then there would be, like, a second voice, me, with a different intonation, but reverb, playing at the same time as me speaking. And I feel like Toby managed to capture kind of that sound a lot in the part where I'm, like, speaking of myself. There's a bunch of different voices that almost perfectly imitates what I would hear in my dreams, but I hadn't told you about that.
No,
you just
I know.
did that and it worked.
We'd reached that line and I just thought there's the instrumental's so dry here, and these lyrics, there's a lot of words here that I don't think will fit into that amount of time. What if you just spoke them?
Yeah.
And she just gave me loads and loads of takes of her just like blabbering into the mic, absolute nonsense.
I love, there's one which I was like, I keep laughing about because it sounds like I'm almost doing a Trump impression.
Yeah, it does.
So see if you can pick that one out.
It does sound like that. What's the next track? Oh, next track's Ducky.
19th birthday, it started with a Mr. Ducky, hey.
Yeah, so this one, the music video has been out for a little bit. It's got more views than I was anticipating, honestly. I was ready to get 10 views on that video. But you wrote that song again. That was one of yours.
That's one of mine. So it's supposed to be a breakup song, but it's not breaking up with a person. It's like breaking up with your stuffed toys. So like Ducky here represents like like your stuffed animals, like your soft toys, like your blankie or whatever that you'd have when you're a kid, you carry around. And then eventually you kind of get to an age where your parents are like, "Are you sure you really want to take that with you?" Like, I feel like we're past this. And yeah, you kind of go through like a breakup with your stuffed toys. Like now you have to leave them behind and whatever. So that's what that's about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of innuendos.
Yeah, there's a couple of innuendos in there,
one.
which is interesting.
It's kind of fun. I don't know what to say about those. They're just there.
They
so
just happened to
enjoy.
show up, and we left them there. Instrumentally, this instrumental's been. We've had this one sitting for a really long time, like waiting to do something with it. A lot of people, especially in the comments, we've been getting a lot of comparisons to other artists, which I think are really funny. My favorite one, someone said it reminded them of Kate Bush.
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was like, oh, it's such an honor to be compared to Kate Bush. Obviously, it's like just this one person's opinion, but like, so
as long
great.
as we had that effect on one person,
like,
I'm happy.
We've done it.
I mean, the video, it's clearly an homage to like the 2000 to early 2010s, like kids let loose with their digital camera or like the family iPad at a family gathering, and they're just recording absolute nothing. But at the same time, it is a sort of narrative because you go from there's the rubber duck and then there's the stuffed or the automaton and then there's the stuffed lamb.
And I like throw them all away.
Yeah, there is a progression, but at the end of the day, it's an entirely just out there concept that I think just kind of happened to land. We just threw it at the wall and it stuck.
Also, the dress I wear in that video, I adore.
What's next? Dino Nuggets.
Caught me on a day where I've got nothing to do, but don't feel
Now this is like one of the weirdest tracks we have, I feel like, because it's actually 3 songs.
Yes.
Combined into one. The first track was actually the first third of the song was actually the part we made last.
Yeah.
And it's not really a song that was written, really. The instrumental was there, and we knew we wanted to do something with it. And we kind of just played around, and we had this idea of like, because the song had like a placeholder name of Crisscross Applesauce.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had this vision of like, from the 2000s or like even the 90s, like the TV instructional videos that were for like
the workout videos.
Yeah. Or even sometimes you'd have ones that were in classes that were for like sex ed or whatever. Or like the teacher would get it up on the whiteboard. And I was like one of them that's teaching kids how to sit crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
So we just, in the spur of the moment, wrote like a short script that you just read out over the song.
It was that one was a lot of fun.
That one was fun.
Was that literally the last piece we were recording?
Second to last. We'll get to the last one.
It was near the end, and we were like, it just felt really good because we were kind of like, we're getting a bit tired at that point.
Yeah.
And then we recorded this thing, which is really fun. Just making it like Cross, like it's like it was a lot of fun.
High energy, yeah.
Boosted the mood.
And then the second half, Nothing to Do, is one of my favorite parts of the entire album through and through. It was a melody that I had written in isolation with nothing in mind. I had just written the melody, I had composed the instrumental, and then I had this idea for a song about that feeling when your plans for the day is nothing, and then someone invites you out somewhere. And you feel bad for saying no because you're not doing anything, but also you really wanted to do nothing that day. And that's literally all that song is about. It's applicable to a lot of things, especially because you can kind of look at this song as not necessarily growing up, but gaining or losing ignorance or losing naivety. Because the first song is literally an instructional video of being told what to do.
Yeah. The
second one is kind of having this complex feeling about, I don't want to, but I should want to, but I don't, or I feel bad for not wanting to. The third track, which is the one that was originally labeled Dino Nuggets, is much more explicitly about someone's telling you to do something and you're saying no. And it's that's one of the only parts of this album that was fully recorded. It's just a guitar that I recorded, and then you voiced. You sung over it. There we go. That's the word. and I just added some filters to guitar, filters to your voice. Nothing else was changed. Very little pitch correction. It's like one of the rawest parts of the album, especially because it's such a highly overproduced album.
I do like the fact that we have like there's this one and Sobbing on a Sunday, which
we'll get to, yeah.
But it's like the only kind of acoustic parts, things where we kind of did it in one take type beat, because there's really not a lot of that in this album.
The next track is Party Turtles.
The lights turn off, the sun goes down, nothing but darkness is with me now.
Which is this was the last song we recorded for this album.
Which Christmas Applesauce is a good way into it, because Party Turtles is also crazy and high energy.
Insane.
And
I mean, so there's an A section and a B section, which is really evident when you listen to it. And my idea was that I wanted this A section to be just general kind of pop, nothing like super extraordinary about it. And then this B section was kind of meant to be sort of partly inspired by disco, partly inspired by funk. And that's what I had. And then she comes in with these lyrics and this melody that are just for a different song entirely.
Yeah, like what I was thinking, my inspo was like Katy Perry. It's the thing.
It exists.
That we made.
It was definitely, at the time of the album's completion, it was definitely my least favorite track we've recorded.
Oh yeah, but we were both like, wow, we really put that on there.
But it has actually grown on me. I catch myself singing it a lot. And even I kind of embrace the ugliness of it.
Yeah, it's ugly, but it's endearing. That song in general is written about, it's like a type of like, you know, like goldfish, like crackers, like the pretzel crackers. It's during lockdown, I couldn't find any of those in my local supermarket. And they had a version of them, which they called Party Turtles. And so I decided to write a song about crackers,
Party Turtles.
Party Turtles, because they taste really good. And that was the inspiration.
Literally, that was it. The bridge, we recorded both of us at the same time, which we didn't. Normally, we would record even for harmonies, but also if we're both singing on a track, we'll record our voices in isolation and then add them together at the end. But the bridge, we were both, well, first of all, we were both so tired.
Yeah, we just wanted to be done.
And we also were just in an absolutely delirious mood. We both stood round this very mic and just chanted these lyrics, if you can even call them that, for however many bars straight. And honestly, it's my favorite part of the whole song.
Great. It was a lot of fun. Again, like as like the last like hurrah of this album, to just be like, at the end we're practically screaming.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah.
Next track is Nightlight.
I followed that guiding star until the day he died.
This one's interesting. So if you've listened to it, you probably have some questions. So
I like this one.
I love this one. This is probably my favorite. Well, it's in my top 3 of the whole album, really. It's in a 15/8, which the music nerds out there will appreciate. And it actually was originally a poem. I mean, you can tell the writing style is completely different to the rest of the album. It was written by me as actually inspiration for Starium, because she had writer's block on Starium.
Yeah.
And I'd written a poem that I thought was sort of in the same vein. I showed it to her. And then at the end, I thought, actually, this would make a really good song. So I wrote it as a song. And then I thought, now this kind of fits as a nice, like an interlude on Childlike. I don't know, it formed a nice bridge from one sound to another without explicitly committing to any of them. And then the lyrics, I think, are really cool.
I think they're really cool.
I think they're really good lyrics. And they're definitely thematically appropriate. Originally, they weren't really about anything kind of to do with childhood and growing up. But then if you think about it, it really is fitting for like what it feels like as a kid to first lose something forever, be it like a grandparent, a pet, etc. Everyone goes through it, and it's a weird sensation because you aren't old enough to know how to process it yet. And yeah, That's what that song was about.
I think also the fact that it's again kind of got these spacey
Mhm,
vibes and
mhm.
lyrics and theming to it. It's like I feel like as a kid, I feel like kids think about space like a lot.
Yeah.
Like it comes up a lot. In school and media and whatever, just in their
like
brains.
space is really relevant to
It's really
kids for
relevant
some
to
reason.
kids. So I feel like to have an album about growing up, like basically a coming of age like album, to not have that in it is a mistake.
Yeah, would be a mess. Okay, we need to clap again. Hang on.
Okay, wait, we can do it on together this time. 1, 2, 3.
Close enough. Where were we? Right, yes, Neon Girl.
Is that the next one?
Neon Girl is the next track. This is by far the oldest track.
So I wrote this song when I was about 15, maybe. And it's very quite clearly about like bullying for being different. And I wear a lot of like bright clothes and bright colors, and that's always been like my thing. Not that I was never bullied for it at school, even though that's what the song's about basically. But it's more I like thought about it one time. I was like, man, I really easily could have been bullied for this, like because it's different, right? And so I thought, there's a lot of people who are bullied for being different. That was kind of on my mind. Why not make a song kind of for those people? Be like, it's okay to be different.
And we recorded this in the same session that we recorded all of the Subliminal Space tracks.
Oh my god, yeah.
So 3 years ago this song was recorded.
Yeah.
And it kind of still holds up, to be honest.
I mean,
you can tell that it hits a little
weird.
different from the rest of the tracks, but I think it slaps.
Dang,
Honestly, I
really
love
good.
this song. The music video for one of the tracks is coming out fairly soon, or might already be out by now, Pear-Shaped, but both the video for that and the video for Ducky are literally just us in a bedroom with a camera because we don't.
Because that's what we have.
With what money are we gonna do anything else?
Exactly.
Cherry Blossom Crazy reimagined.
Yeah, which is also the original Cherry Blossom Crazy.
Yeah.
Is
was released as a
single.
Yeah,
it is up.
Yes, it's up.
And we kind of listened to it and we're like,
yeah, I don't
this
like
could
it.
be better.
Yeah, because I like the idea of the song. I don't like what we. I mean, we were like 16.
Yeah.
Or like 17. So I mean, it makes sense that
one of the first ones we recorded.
Yeah,
I think it was.
So it's
we didn't really know what we were doing.
It's imperfect in a lot of places, which nothing wrong with being imperfect, but with a song that I think meant a lot, especially to you, but also to me, we wanted to give it some justice. So. And thematically, it fits this album so well that we rebuilt the entire song from the ground up in a slightly altered genre. Because if you've listened to the original song, you'll know that it's all electronic pop until the bridge, which is heavy rock, and then it goes back to pop. Whereas in this version, it's all punk rock until you get to the bridge, in which case it kind of goes synthy and electro vibes, and then it goes back to rock. It's how we would approach a track like Neon Girl now compared to 3 years ago. Yeah. And they sit nice together on the album, I think, as a nice little couple. Yeah.
There. Also, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, it means a lot to me, this song. I did write it about, like, I had a specific classroom where in spring, like, looking out the window, there was just a huge cherry blossom tree. And I would just sit in class, not listening, and I would just be staring at this tree, just thinking, wow, it's just so pretty. Especially since I have glasses, and I wouldn't wear them a lot of the time, and then when I would wear them, I was like, wow, the world's so HD. That's crazy. And I remember doing that, staring at this tree. I was just like, wow, this tree has individual leaves, which I can see, and isn't the world beautiful? So yeah.
Next track, Pear-Shaped.
I miss the way we didn't care, we just didn't care.
So this track, we literally, if you're watching this, we've literally just finished recording Pear-Shaped this morning, like the video for it. And it is maybe one of the best tracks on the album, I think.
So.
I think it's up there.
I think it's your best produced track.
Yeah.
I think ever, like that you've made so far. Just because the mixing on it is so good.
The lyrics were written by you.
Yeah. So I like to think some of my lyrics, these are older lyrics as well. I think I wrote these it was either my last year of high school or second to last year. And I was like having a mental breakdown because I like failed this like a mock exam beautifully. And I was just like sat outside in our school, like in the sun, just like, oh God, what have I done? Like, and so that's where the lyrics come from. So again, it fits the album a lot because it's like, you know, school related, growing up, just like school makes up such a huge part of growing up. Like it's like a third of your life.
Yeah, kind of.
Until you're about 18. So definitely secures its place on the album. I would say they're not great lyrics, right? Like they're not good. And I think a lot of the lyrics I've written are not good. But I kind of like that about the album, that it's because they're cute. Authentic. It's not that you were an adult who then thought back and thought, oh, I'll write about this. These were at the time exactly the words that you wrote. That's how I felt.
Which I think is very different. Yeah.
And we didn't change a lot of it.
We didn't change. Obviously, some things changed just because
we read it and we're like,
not that.
Can't have that.
But
a lot of it we didn't change, and that's just like how I originally wrote them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of important to keep that, because this album has been... we conceptualized this album so long ago that I think if we were to lose sight of where it came from originally would be a shame.
Yeah, I mean, when did it... I think it started around, 2017-ish? And obviously now it's 2024. So,
7 years.
The ripe age of 20.
Yeah, we thought of this album when we were like 14, 13.
Yeah.
And now we're 20.
So it's been
taken a while. Yeah. Next track is Sobbing on a Sunday.
I don't wanna say it again. I'm not looking forward to the weekend.
This track is so weird. I made the instrumental for this with the piano and the drums and the distorted snares and the guitars and all of that, and thought, that's hideous. I have to show Sophie. She's going to find it hilarious. And her response was, oh my God, send that to me. I'm going to sing over it. And I was like, are you kidding?
Lyrics.
Are you kidding me? Send it to her. She sends me this a cappella recording of her singing, and I thought, that's a really pretty song. How are you going to sing that?
Because it's like, I was singing
over that
because I had lyrics. I basically listened to your audio and like just kind of started singing like a jazz melody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, in isolation, the melody really... It's simple, but it's very jazzy because it's all seventh. The interval's all sevenths.
It's very pretty.
It's very pretty.
It's.
And then you just listen to the instrumental and you just think, "Wow,
we really put them.
What a waste!" Yeah,
we did that.
But it is also one of my favorite tracks, and it's also, I think, the only track that in its entirety was recorded in one take.
Yes. That was, since I had already written the melody, because a lot of the melodies Toby writes, but since this one I had come up with and I had already sang it a cappella, I already knew it off by heart, and I had the lyrics, so I literally just...
She just stood up and sung it, yeah.
Just sang it, recorded it. That one is, again, school-related, similar time period to Pear-Shaped, where I was just like, every Sunday, I'm like doing schoolwork, like crunching schoolwork, for exams or whatever, just like absolutely struggling with the thought that the next week is coming and I'm not ready. But whether I am or not,
it's gonna keep coming.
You have to go to bed. You gotta wake up the next day, and there it is. So it's authentic too.
Yes. Speaking of days of the week, Stomachache Mondays is the next one. This one has history. Because you get this thing called abdominal migraines.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just like, it's like a migraine, but you feel it in your abs.
like your
Yeah,
tummy.
your stomach. And it's not like a stomach flu, like it's not a virus, it's not a bacteria, it's just like basically cramps, but
It's like
or
a
like
headache.
yeah.
It's like literally like a migraine, like a headache. But instead of feeling it in your head, it's just you feel it in your
yeah,
tummy.
and you used to chronically get them, especially on Mondays.
Yeah, because so it would be the stress of Mondays coming around, and because of that, I usually wouldn't have slept well on a Sunday evening, or I would have been staying up late doing work, and like the stress, the lack of sleep, like whatever, would just result in migraines,
Stomach aches,
basically,
yeah.
stomach aches.
And
So I'd have to keep leaving school. Like I would get to school,
yeah.
I'd do about an hour of
she'd
class.
message me at like 1 p.m. and be like, I'm home because I got a
I'm
stomach
home 'cause I got a
ache.
stomach ache. And this kept happening like on Mondays. So it was 1 year where I probably left like, you know, I don't know, 5-6 weeks in a row
on
Mondays where I was just like, I can't stay in school.
The song, however, is quite groovy. Actually, it was inspired almost by a singular song. The song by AliX, Super Duper Party People,
Yes,
has a similar
good song.
that bass line
Incredible song.
was an earworm to me for like years, and I had to do something similar just to get it out of my system. I had to put it together, and once that kind of I exercised that out of my body, I was happy with it. And the track, it is just kind of looping samples, like nothing massive comes or goes, with the exception of each chorus falls apart more and more.
Yeah.
Like the first chorus, pretty stable, all the instruments are there, your voice, well, two of your voices. And then the third chorus, there's no instruments, it's just drums and vocals with this weird added harmony in the middle. And then it just comes together at the end with one more like one oomph, and then it's gone.
And I think the kind of cyclical like repeatingness of it, like I think that was really important. The fact that I kept getting stomach aches, it kept happening.
It keeps coming and going, yeah. And yeah, the lyrics were all written by you, and also the track opens as a weird like blah blah. That is a remnant of how long ago I made this track before I understood really how to mix things properly. You know, you kind of just think, oh, more bass equals better. And some of the original exports of this track are, first of all, horrendous, but that bass sample literally eclipses everything else. It is at the start of every line of every chorus, but it's mixed properly that it's not super obvious. But I just left it in isolation at the start of the track, just as a reminder of where we've come from.
The legacy.
The blah blah. Nearly towards the end, where next track is Childlike itself. So this song again has, well, there was a completely different version of this song years and years and years ago.
I've rewritten these lyrics about 6 or 7 different
and
times.
reshuffled them, reordered the verses.
Like it was one that I thought was really important to get right.
Yeah.
It felt, because at the end of the day, like that is the themes and ideas which are in that song is like the main
it's
ones
the
of
through line for
album.
the whole album, yeah.
So it really needed to be right. And so it's one of the few songs that I've like worked on like over and over and over again to finally get it how I wanted it to be. And then a lot of the melodies in the song are kind of the original melodies I came up with,
but just like changed to different keys and
made to work with the song. But there's a lot of those original,
because you came up with that
melodies
original
in there.
melody when you were actually a child.
Yeah, and I was singing a cappella.
Yeah.
without
anything.
being in a specific key or like
yeah. I mean,
they are fun to sing the harmonies.
Yeah.
They're really difficult, some of them, because like if you've already learned the melody for like
even if you've
a
written the
line,
melody,
that's the worst thing. It's like if I wrote it myself, I already had it in my head for years and years, and then you're like, okay, so here, same lyrics, different melody,
like different,
for a harmony,
slightly different melody, yeah.
and like that's hard to sing, but it is fun. Like it's a good challenge.
Yeah, and it always sounds great. And something you can hear on this album is there's times when we've re-recorded a voice for a harmony, and then there are times where we've taken the same recording and pitched it up and down, and it has a very different sound.
Yeah, we're kind of inconsistent.
So
with
like
that.
the ending of Ducky, for example, is just one take that I've then pitched up and down, so it has that really fake and plastic sound to a harmony, whereas a lot of the harmonies in this song in Childlike were individually and meticulously recorded and corrected and like produced and this, what, that, and the other, so that they all sounded more organic. And
I love it though, because you'll have like the way you pronounce a word or the specific intonation you put on it, or when you start it. Like when you start the word, your timing will be slightly different in each recording of the,
which adds a
of
completely different feel to it, and it's more playful that way.
I love the way, I do like the way that sounds.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, I'm thinking of the lyrics, like a lot of them are just kind of their experiences from my childhood that I'm like, that I kind of reminisce on, like, bring up a lot of nostalgia. I think like, if I think quintessential childhood, if I were to sum it up into a number of like thoughts and kind of events and memories, like that's what Childlike is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Next track is I Deserve to Be Happy.
I don't need a reason. I deserve to be happy.
Which was a song that was a very simple song, and it was written as part of a different concept for a different album. I wrote it, and basically what we used to do when we were kind of figuring out what we wanted to work on was we would come up with these different albums with different ideas and different demo tracks, and we would sit and we would talk about them and we would conceptualize them. And this track was actually written for a different album entirely, but we recorded a demo of it and we really liked it, and so we just kind of slotted it in. It's not that it's necessarily particularly engaging with the themes, but it's also not engaging with the themes. It's a really simple song summed up in the title, I Deserve to Be Happy.
Alternative name
is
smiley face.
She wanted it to be a little like emoticon, but then it wouldn't allow it, so
no, but just know that it's like a smiley face with eyebrows.
Yes, it is,
which is ironic because I don't have any, so
yeah. But there's not a lot to say about that one, really.
No.
Like, you listen to it and you just kind of have to experience it. It's gonna happen to you.
You deserve to be happy. Everyone deserves to be happy.
Exactly.
I think like learning that is important. How it fits into the album thematically is just, as you grow up, you learn that you do deserve to be happy. And if that, like, that also comes with learning to say no. And, well, learning to say yes to opportunities which arrive, learning what your boundaries are and whatever, which will make you happy.
And then the final track on the album is Zombie Sheep.
I'll see you again.
Which...
Oh, wow, what a ride.
Was it the last one to be written?
Yes, it was the last song to be written.
And it kind of got thrown in.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It did get kind of well, we thought we didn't really have a track to end on. And I said, you know what's a funny concept? There's that whole thing about androids dreaming of electric sheep, and counting sheep when you're falling asleep is a very childish concept.
Yeah.
Could you kind of mishmash that with, well, what's a kind of something kids generally are afraid of, like horror movie monsters, and what's that? Oh, zombies. Oh, well, do zombies dream of zombie sheep?
Yeah.
And then literally from that one line... It was half like a piss take and half ended up having a really good metaphor behind it.
Yeah.
Because obviously the chorus, do zombies dream of zombie sheep, blah, 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 blah. It's just funny. Like, it's just stupid. The melody's ugly. The drums are just kind of like groovy and whatever. And even the verses, they just vocals and a little like bass organ that's really distorted and muffled. And it's literally just you and then reverb you. It's very majestic sounding. And then you have this chorus that's just a complete joke. But then you start, like, as the choruses go on, the questions become realer and realer, where it goes from like, do they have to wear long sleeves, to like, I'll tell you what you won't believe, they're just like you and me, and if we don't untie the leash then they will remain deceased. Which was kind of a parallel to how, I mean, as you've spoke about, is like, especially growing up, being forced to overwork in school but also in working life, it turns you into a kind of a zombie where you just kind of go from week to week, day to day, doing nothing and not thinking about anything. But we thought it was a good one to end on because it is so equal parts funny and serious and uplifting and depressing. It just is perfectly a middle child.
It reminds me of when you go to see a movie and you come out of the movie theater and everyone's just quiet. Like, what did we just experience? How do we go on with life now? Like, as normal?
Exactly.
So that's very much we listened, like, after we made it, we listened to it, like, okay.
That's the ending.
Like, we listened to it and we were just like, what? What just happened? And it's great for the end of an album.
Yeah, it's especially this album. I think it's such a good ending.
I did write the verses, though.
You wrote the verses, I wrote the chorus.
And the verses are a little wacky.
Yeah.
They're like a bit of a stream of consciousness on my part.
But they work.
Yeah. They're kind of a different theme altogether. Like, the idea I had in my head was just about, like, when you become an adult and you have friends that you don't, like, see often. It's like, oh, you have these friends, they're your best friend or whatever, but you see them like 3 times a year because you're, I don't know, living in different places, working, busy, just whatever. And so it's kind of 2 people bringing on this, like, curse to be zombies, so to, like, live forever so they can hang out together. Like, they die, they become zombies, they can live together, hang out together, they see each other all the time, but, like, the consequence of that is being a zombie.
Yeah.
So there's like finger melting off the bone.
I'm traded in time for this face.
Yeah.
Like,
so
got more time together, but at what cost?
But at what cost? Like, you look
I'm
like
clapped
a zombie
now. Yeah.
You look like that now.
All right. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I mean, I'm sure like 10 people will watch this, but as long as the 10 people enjoyed it and we're interested, that's what matters. I'm not sure how long this will be. I'll edit it down, but it was kind of just a stream of consciousness from both of us. But yeah,
that's Childlike.
And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you listen to it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And tell us your favorite song down in the comments.
That's fair. All right.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.